Hey guys, how is everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. So today I decided that I would make a video showing you guys how to play this deck. 60 card DRAGONMAID, combo DRAGONMAID, Dragon Link. I wanted to make a video to, play through or show you how to play through like hand traps, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some test hands, right? I don't think I'll do like the full, like I won't play it out all the way, unless, I might do one. Like I might play one out, just, full combo through hand traps. But that also depends on like how we draw. But I kind of want to show you guys how you can play through like imperm, ash, and then just show you like the kind of like interactions, the kind of follow-ups, how you can push through, say like an imperm, say they imperm one of your monsters, they ash one of your monsters, and then I'll also be, I'll talk about like Ogre and Gamma and stuff like that. Nibiru is very tough, but I feel like Nibiru is just so strong against so many combo decks. So if like a combo deck gets Nibiru'd, that all comes down to like how lucky, how many extenders you drew and whatnot. I've played like not around Nibiru, but through Nibiru before, but that to be honest with you guys, that doesn't happen like that often, unless we draw like reborn cards or stuff like that. So let's start with our first test hand. It's going to be Chamber, Black Dragon, Red Ice Fusion. We always draw the Red Ice Fusion, and then Quick Launch. So, this hand's like, eh. Like, we could play through one hand trap easily. Two hand traps would probably hurt really bad. Because, like, if this was, like, anything else, like if this was not that, but... it's the same crap. So anyway, so I'll show you guys. So let's just play it out, right? We're gonna normal summon Chamber. Chamber gets you any DRAGONMAID spell or trap, and the thing is that's dangerous for your opponent to let go through, because if you had like a big dragon in your hand, you'd be able to like add changeover and then like go into Shao, and then that would be a negate that they could have like stopped from happening. So I think most of the time people are going to imperm or ash this, okay? If they imperm or ash it, it's fine. Our turn doesn't really end here. What we can do is just go into a link 1, okay? And then, we'll activate the effect. And then here, they can imperm this. I want to say like a smart player would definitely stop this, because like if they don't stop it, you just gain an extender in the form of hospitality, or like I said, if you drew a big dragon, like a level 5 or higher dragon, then you can go into Shao. And if you go into Shao, that's a negate. That's something that your opponent does not want you to build a board, so they want to stop that. So they would negate this with imperm or ash. If they only have one hand trap, they might hold it. I'm gonna be honest with you, they might hold it because they might just say it's not worth it just to stop one card and have you full combo through that one hand trap. But if your opponent has multiple hand traps, maybe they'll like hand trap this and then they'll save another hand trap for something else. Now in terms of hand trapping this card can add you. It does add you Boot Sector, and Boot Sector is, a very good extender. But the thing is, because Dragon Link decks don't play a high rocket count, the chances of you opening up with a like rocket isn't very high. Like the actual rocket monster, not counting like Quick Launch, but the actual rocket monster. So them hand trapping this is unlikely, I want to say, because most of the time everybody lets this go through. But some players do choose to hand trap this because they don't want that additional extender. I think the smarter players will probably let this go through and save their hand trap, like imperm for something else, like Romulus. So assuming that they let this go through. So and you know, keep in mind that this is through. I mean, this is after, say, they hand trap chamber, which sucks because if they, you know, if I was playing like a combo, like if I was just demonstrating combos, this hand wouldn't have been that terrible because of chamber. We would have been able to actually full combo. But anyway, so we're gonna activate quick launch. Now here, our opponent might choose to ash this, but the thing is, quick launch isn't a hard once per turn. So we can, if we had multiple copies, we could just activate another one. Most of the time, your opponent will not ash this. If they do ash it, you know, like our turn kind of ends here because all we drew was the like impermanence, and you saw like we don't have a light target for Black Dragon, so that sucks. So our turn would end here. You know, unfortunately, it would just be an imperm. If we could somehow stop them just with like one imperm, and plus if they hand trapped us, twice, that means they're starting with 4 cards in hand. So this imperm might actually be very strong. And then next turn, obviously, we were gonna draw another chamber. But no, actually the deck would have been shuffled because of Boot Sector Launch. Did I shuffle the deck and actually draw another chamber? I'm not even sure. So we draw another imperm, which sucks. But if this was enough to stop them and then they, you know, attack this, we could just activate Red Eyes Fusion and then just summon Dragoon. Yeah, that was like, you know, it was something. If they, like my guess is they won't ash this, right? If they didn't ash this, what we would just do is end on Hieratic and this, because Hieratic Seal is just so good. It'll bounce and then it'll get us advantage. We'll get the ball rolling. Plus we'd have imperm. Okay, so that was again very like subpar hand. So let's try again. I might do like 5 of these, so we'll see how it goes. And again, I think realistically, I want to say, you know, realistically, I want to play through 2 hand traps, okay? Because, you know, I think the majority of the time, if there's a deck that plays a ton of hand traps, like 12 or 9 to 12 hand traps, you know, some decks play more, some decks play 15, but you know, that's really that's like taking away a lot. But say they play 12 hand traps and they open up 2 hand traps, okay? The most common being like Veiler Ash, Imperm Veiler. I'm not sure if too many decks are maining Nibiru, but I'm going to assume this is game 1. These are game 1s because we could also side and, you know, try to play around stuff game 2 and game 3, but let's just assume these are always game 1s because, you know, it makes a huge difference if we add side deck cards. So here's test hand number 2. Test hand number 2, very good. We could definitely play through multiple hand traps. Again, I'm going to play this as if I'm playing against a good player that's knowledgeable of the about the deck. So I'm gonna activate Dragon Shrine. Again, most of the time they'll let this go through. I don't want to assume that I'm playing with somebody that's gonna shotgun Ash. So I'm gonna assume that they have Ash and Imperm, but they're not choosing to Ash this because honestly, it would just be ridiculous to Ash this card. It is a hard once per turn on this card, but the thing is, it's like if you know you're playing against Dragon Link, you know they're playing against a lot of extenders. So we're gonna Dragon Shrine the Apsarouter. We're gonna activate Apsarouter's effect. This is another chance they have to Ash this, but at this point, if you Ash this, you allowed me to have a body in the graveyard for me to banish, like with White Dragon or Levianeer. I would say, you know, if they let you get this far, I mean, they might Ash this, but I doubt, like I said, a good player would probably not Ash this. So we're going to add the Rocket Recharger because we have Tracer in our hand. So now they have knowledge of one card in our hand. They know that we have Rocket Recharger. This was very bad to draw because of Romulus, but we drew two great extenders in the form of Reborn and World Legacy Guard Dragon, so it's okay. We're going to keep Recharge in our hand. We're going to normal summon Phalanx, and then we're going to link into a Striker Dragon. We're going to activate Striker Dragon. Again, I doubt they would hand trap this like any, you know, I think any player that's knowledgeable about this deck, again, would not hand trap this. If they do, I mean, you know, that's great. That's one less card that we don't have to worry about. I would actually prefer that they hand trap Shrine, that they hand trap Striker Dragon. They don't know that we have Tracer, though. So that's actually our advantage. So they only know that we could summon this off this, but they're more, I know that any player would be more scared of Tracer, and they don't know that we have Tracer in hand. They could assume that we have Tracer in hand because I added the Recharger, but again, they don't know. For all they know, they could be like, okay, he's saving Tracer to summon it, you know, some other way, but I could have Quick Launch. They could also assume I have Quick Launch. Anyway, so now I'm gonna activate Monster Reborn, and I'm going to reborn any one of these, and then from here I'm going to link into Romulus. Now this is tricky, right? Because they know that we opened up Phalanx. All right, nobody plays 2, so in their minds, if we activate the effect, we're either searching for the dead Divine Lance, or we are searching for Dragon Ravine. And because they know we opened this up, and like I said, we're not playing a typical Dragon Link deck because, you know, my build is very different. It doesn't include Link Cross, doesn't include Halka-Fibrax, so it's very different. The methods that I choose to take or use to get to the end board, it's very different than what's considered Dragon Link. So when I activate the effect, they could imperm this, they could ask this, because Dragon Ravine it can be a very strong card depending on what cards I have in hand. So I'm going to assume that they're going to at least hand trap Romulus. Okay, Romulus is a powerful card to hand trap. And at this point, I've used up my normal summon. I've used Monster Reborn. They know we have these two, right? So they know that we can extend. Again, I'm not sure. They might hand trap this. They might not. A good player might still hand trap this and prevent me from getting farther into the combo. You know what? But I'm gonna say that they don't hand trap this because, again, they know that we have Phalanx, so they might just assume that we're just adding a dead, the Divine Lance, which is dead because we drew the Phalanx. So I'm gonna assume that they let that go through. Okay. This is where they're going to hand trap us for sure. We're going to activate World Legacy Guard Dragon. And you know what? We might actually do that later. No. We'll activate World Legacy Guard Dragon. We'll summon Phalanx back. And then we're going to go into... LP, right? We're going to activate the effect of World Legacy Guard Dragon to move. Then we're going to activate LP's effect. They're definitely going to hand trap this, whether it's Imperm or Ash. Let's say that they Ash this, okay? So they Ash this. Because it's a no-brainer. You know, now they know that we have World Legacy Guard Dragon. They know that we went through 2 extenders. Okay? So let's just assume that they hand trap this card. Now here... So let's assume that they have Ash left. Alright, they have Ash left in hand. So from here we could do we could go a couple different routes. Okay, we can go Dragon Ravine, right? We could discard something and then send something like Tempest, or we could also send Spiral Dragon. And what those do, those allow us to extend so we could get into Saryuja, right? We're going to assume that they still have an Ash in hand, though. So I'm going to play this as best as I can through an Ash, okay? And I think this is how we're going to do it. I'll keep the Ravine, okay, in hand. And what I'll do is I'll activate Boot Sector and I'll activate the effect. Some people do play Ogre, but I think they would have Ogred this, to be honest with you, just to stop me from moving. But if they, again, Ogre's more of a side deck card in this, you know, in this, like in this meta game. So we're going to use this. We're going to summon 2, right? And then from here, we're going to go link 1 into our Pisty. And then, let's see here. We could go link 1 into Pisty. You know what? Let's keep this here. I don't think there's any reason to go into Pisty, because if we go Pisty and we revive a monster, it doesn't really do anything. So what we're going to do here, guys, is if they have an Ash, if they have, say, like, if they have an Ash Blossom, I think they might have missed their chance to actually use it, because from here, honestly, what I would do is I would go these 2 into Hieratic Seal, right? And then, well, they could still Ash, honestly. So I would attempt to activate the effect of Rocket Tracer and attempt to pop World Legacy Guard Dragon. And they could technically Ash me there to prevent me from getting another body, even though the body that I would be summoning wouldn't really be doing anything. But the thing is, if they don't use the Ash now, they could save it for Hieratic Seal, to be honest. If they, like when I tribute this to summon from deck, they could save it. But from here, what I would do is I would use these 2 cards to go into Verte. And then I would use Verte's effect to, because we still have Ravine to discard for Dragoon. Sorry, I keep bumping into the tripod, my bad. So we'd use the effect, dump the Red Eyes Fusion. If they had a second Imperm here, then, you know, we'd pay 2k and that's it. Our turn would end there. And we would just end with like a Hieratic Seal. But if, assuming they had Imperm and Ash and they Impermed the LP, or they could have technically, also Ash the LP, save the Imperm. And then they could have Imperm Tracer when I try to, like, pop to summon another body. And if they do Imperm, then we're kind of free for Verte, because they've used both Ash and Imperm. So we still end with, like, Dragoon and Hieratic, which is, it's very powerful, because they have 4 cards in hand. And, you know, Hieratic just, like, it gets you so much. It gets the ball rolling. We're just going to summon cards from the deck. We're going to gain advantage. Again, I think that hand was pretty good to play through 2 hand traps to still end on like 2 disruptions. Because, again, they ashed LP, and then if they impermed Tracer, you know, or they could have technically like waited until I summoned the body and then went into, you know, something else. But that was pretty good. Like, even if you just end with this card through 2 hand traps, this is like it's such a powerful card alone. You know what I mean? Because this card could have gotten us like it would have gotten us a bounce, and then it would have gotten us like Levianeer. It would have gotten us like our DRAGONMAID engine. It would have got us access to that stuff. This really sucks that we drew this, because I guarantee that we would have been able to bait out another hand trap with Romulus. But because we drew this, like I said, I wanted to play as if my opponent knew exactly what to stop. And I know normally people would stop Romulus, because that would sort of be a choke point, but because they know that we drew the Phalanx, I don't think that they would have stopped the Romulus. They would have probably assumed that we were either adding a dead card, which is Divine Lance, or you know, Dragon Ravine, which isn't like too threatening. I want to say not as much as Phalanx. Phalanx is a free body, and also, if they've never played me before and they assume I'm playing regular Dragon Link, that's also access to a tuner. So I could like start my Synchro plays and my Halka Fibrax plays. So that was okay. Let's assume that we'd end with either Hieratic or Hieratic Dragoon or Hieratic Boral Savage. We could have also gone that route. But again, I think that my favorite thing about this deck is just being able to play through hand traps and have my opponent just waste cards and resources to try to prevent me from playing. But the thing is, I'm playing so many extenders in the deck. Keep in mind, this is 60 cards, right? So when we drew the Phalanx, when we draw like Imperm, stuff like... Well, Imperm is good, but as you could see, we actually top decked the other Imperm. So that sucked. But it just, some of those things are very unlikely, you know, unlikely to happen. But again, it's always the curse of the camera, right? Okay, so this hand's cool. This hand's okay. All right, so here's what we'll do. Again, I'm gonna assume that they have 2 hand traps. All right, so look, we're basically starting with a 4-card hand, because, you know, oh, check it out. Oh, I got a 1 CR. Doesn't that look pretty? Looks super nice. So let's assume that we're playing with 4 cards realistically, because this is a hard once per turn. Now, because we have Shrine, this is live, because I don't want to, even though I drew the Reborn, I don't want to discard this. Okay? I want this to bait a hand trap. Okay? So I'm going to normal summon Chamber effect. You know, some good players might still let this go through, because yeah, I'm searching for another extender in the form of Hospitality, but the combo doesn't get threatening until like later on. But again, if I do have access to like a level 7 dragon, I mean a level 5 or higher dragon, then I could potentially go into Shao and then like combo off. I'm going to normal summon Chamber. I think if you have multiple hand traps, it's correct to like stop this. This is a very good starter. Let's assume that they Imperm right here. Okay, we're gonna link 1, activate the effect. If they have Ash, I doubt they'll use it here. They'll probably wait until I like something big like LP. LP is a very, like, it tutors anything. Or Romulus. They might actually, yeah, or they might stop Romulus actually, for sure. Or actually, they'll stop this next card. What am I talking about? They actually, so like, activate Dragon Shrine. And then, let's see, we'll go this, activate. Again, this is another chance that they have to Ash, or, you know, that's about it, Ash. If they have like a Veiler, they'll probably hold that. So what we'll do here is, I'm going to add the Rocket Tracer. Now here, so now here it depends. It depends how risky you want to make this play, because here we could go this and send this, right? Now if they have an Ash and they Ash us here, our only other extender is this. And once we search, like, once we reborn, the best thing that we could end on is Hieratic or well, we could end on Dragoon. I mean, we could end on Dragoon. We could end on Hieratic Seal. We could end on Boral Savage, but I think that would be a Boral Savage with 1 negate. So I want to say that a safer play would probably be to activate the boot sector and then summon the tracer. And then attempt to activate Tracer's effect, popping the boot sector. Now, if they ash this right here, then we can link these two off. Now wait, actually I need to give this a quick read. It says, okay, so it would negate the whole effect. Okay, cool. I was about to say, I don't want to be locked into to darks if they ash this. So if they ash this, that's actually beautiful. Like, that is super good if they ash this. You know, we're using this way too early, but the thing is, we don't have enough fuel besides like the Monster Reborn. So I didn't want to activate Chaos Space, send this, and then have them ash us. And then all we had was Monster Reborn, get this back. We could go Romulus and then, you know, search for Divine Lance, but that doesn't really do anything in this version of like Dragon Link because we're playing the Dragon Maids. So we'd only be able to like end on again, like Hieratic or Dragoon or Boral Savage with 1 negate, because we would just pop this and then so through 2 hand traps we'd only be able to end on, you know, like 1 disruption, which is you know, I want to be able to like end on multiple at least. So from here I would summon this. They don't know what we have. They don't know the 3 cards we have in our hand, right? But again, this gets us another body from the deck. And then if they let this go through, you know, we could if they let this go through. So, okay, look, check this out. Say, I'm going to show you both scenarios. Say we activate this, we summon this, we pop this, they let it go through. Okay? They say, you know what? It's not that threatening, whatever. They're going to hold their ash. Now, what we would do there is, it would be a very big mistake, to be honest, to do that. Because Ash at that point would be dead. Because what we would do is, we'd link these two into Verte. And then we'd activate Monster Reborn. We'd summon the Rocket Recharger. And then we'd go for Boral Savage, and then we'd activate. They can't ash this, by the way. It copies the effect on resolution, so there's no window to actually ash this card. So we'd successfully be able to end on these two. Okay, that's if they don't ash the Tracer. Now, if they don't ash the Tracer, right? If they do ash the Tracer, let me show you guys how that would look. This would still be in the deck. Okay, so we'd have this in hand. This would be our grave. So say they don't ash this. I mean, say they do ash this, right? So in the previous scenario, they didn't ash. And they allowed us to get those 2 disruptions. So it was too late for them to use Ash. So they would have like a dead card pretty much in their hand. It's as if they're playing with 4 cards. And then we have, you know, we have the Dragoon, and we have 2 Omni Negates, 2 very strong Omni Negates. Now let's assume that they do Ash this. Okay, if they do Ash this, then they've wasted the 2 hand traps that they had. And we would go Romulus, and then from here, we'd search for Divine Lance. Right here, we'd activate it, get Phalanx. And then because they asked the Rocket Tracer, now we can go Monster Reborn, get, you know, any like level 4 or lower, and then we'd be able to go to LP Pisty. Okay, and with LP Pisty, so we have 2, so in this scenario we'd have like 2 dead cards because, you know, unfortunately we didn't draw like another if this was like another dark in hand, then we would have been able to resolve Chaos Space. We would have been, but let's assume, so in both scenarios, what's great about the, you know, what I'm showing you guys is that in both scenarios, you're ending on multiple disruptions. Because, well, honestly, with we're gonna use LP, right? And in this scenario, I'm gonna special Red Eyes Darkness Metal straight from the deck, then activate the effect to summon any dragon. And the reason that I do this is because I want to have Pisty. I want to save Pisty. Like, I know like in the previous video I showed you with our black metal, and then we'd use Pisty right away to abuse black metal. So we could keep more cards with Saryuja. But now they've wasted Imperm and Ash, right? So we're playing through 2 disruptions. And if they didn't Ash the Rocket Tracer, then we would have ended on Dragoon, Boral Savage. But if they held it, oh, I'm sorry. So if they didn't Ash it, we'd go Borreload, Savage, and Dragoon. But if they did Ash it, we'd still go like ham. You know what I mean? Which is what's happening right now. So now we'd go these 4 into Saryuja. I'm just gonna go for it because we still have so many good cards left into the deck, and plus we have 2 cards that we're definitely gonna put back. Like if we draw Parlor, then we're definitely gonna end with like at least Hieratic Shao, you know, or Hieratic, or I think we're definitely gonna end with like Hieratic Dragoon or something like that. So we're gonna draw 4. Let's cut, because I don't know if I cut 1, 2. Look at that, 3, 4. Wow. So these 2 are definitely gonna go back. And yeah, we used Shrine already, right? Yeah, we did. Okay, so we used Shrine, so this can go back. Chamber we used. So we'll keep one of the Chaos Space, I guess. We could always keep it for like a follow-up. But the main important thing here is that we drew the Parlor, because we're going to use Saryuja's effect. We're going to summon Parlor. Actually, man, this is that's crazy that we drew that too. And then Parlor's going to dump the Changeover, right? And then we're going to activate Changeover. All right, we're going to add these to our hand. Then we could activate Pisty. We're going to need a level 5 or higher for Parlor. And then from here, we go Shao. And then we go Hieratic Seal, which is so good. Like, to end on these 2 through Ash and Imperm is so good because, and look, these 2 cards, like, you could technically use Foolish right now, and you could send Spiral Dragon, because Spiral Dragon is a nice card to have in the grave. So is Tempest. Tempest is also very good to have in the grave. So we could do that if you want. You could like Foolish for any one of those 2. But this is specifically having Shao on the field as opposed to having like Borreload, Savage, and Dragoon. Oh, this could also... No, this can't be Dragoon because Verte isn't a dragon. So this can only... But this is... Oh my god, I can't like explain how much I love this card. This card's so good. So because they're playing with 4 cards. During their standby, we're going to activate Chamber, and then we're going to add Hospitality or Tidying, whatever you guys want. And then with this, oh, actually, you know what? You know what would be smart, super sweet, is during their standby, we're going to summon Chamber, and then we're going to search the Tidying. And the reason that we search Tidying is because we're not going to use the field effect. We're going to use the grave effect next turn. And say, we negate something, very key play that they have, we summon house. And then we're going to tribute this and bounce a card they have. And like here, Hieratic is just going to get us so much, man. So we could do two, where there's 2 things we can do. We could summon Nurse, and then Nurse can get us Parlor, and then Parlor can send Lorepar. And then if they try to enter the battle phase, we can pop with House. But the thing is, I feel like assuming, like the 2 plays that we stopped were huge, and we're confident that they can't go any farther. I mean, they're probably still going to go into battle phase and attack whatever I'm going to summon. But the thing is, like, Hieratic is going to allow me to summon Brotar, right? And then Brotar, so check this play out. We're going to target Brotar. We're going to discard Tidying. And then we're going to search the Levianeer. So now, guys, with those 2 cards that we ended with, not only did we disrupt them, but now we have... So say they attack Brotar, whatever. This could be used during like their end phase. This could be used during our turn. So now we're gonna activate. We could actually do this. So say they ended with a monster and they attacked over Brotar, right? During the end phase, we could go Tidying effect to target Parlor, and then Parlor is gonna activate to send Lorepar, right? Check this out. And then Tidying has to resolve during the end phase. It says that return that monster to the hand during the end phase. So this would go back to the end phase, and then House would trigger to pop that monster. Isn't that crazy? That's awesome, isn't it? And then, for turn, like, we draw any random card. And now, guys, like, oh, well, let's assume that we foolished, Tempest or Spiral. And now, guys, like, look at this. We have, if they ended with 2 monsters, right? We still have this to bounce this back, and then, and then House triggers again, pop a card, so good. And then if we dump Tempest to the grave, we're gonna banish 2 dragons, summon Tempest, and then we could summon Chamber, activate Chamber, get us Hospitality. Use this to fuse Parlor and the Tempest to make Shao again. And then we have the Hospitality to revive this back. Oh my god, so good. Yeah, guys, that was through 2 hand traps. Okay, that's assuming that... Because there's not really a clear choke point for this deck sometimes. So, like, I feel like they probably would have been forced to Ash the Tracer. But if they didn't Ash the Tracer, we would have ended with Dragoon Savage, which is still super good. Having Dragoon on the field, if they can't get over Dragoon, we would have popped cards and stuff. Granted, the Savage would only had 1 negate, which sucks. But it doesn't matter, because Dragoon can negate once on their turn, once on our turn, so it's fine. Wow, guys, we're already... Oh, my God, almost 40 minutes. That's so crazy. Oh, man. That was only 3, right? That was 3, like, test hands? That's crazy. Yeah, guys, so I want to apologize for one thing, and that's sometimes I didn't see a clear line of play, but it's cool because I'm actually learning myself, you know. This deck has been awesome, guys. Like, at locals, it's been great. I kind of want to, like, take it to... I wish we had, like, you know, IRL events, like big events. I would love to take this to, like, a big event, see how it does. Because it's been killing in locals. You know, I don't. This is not to. I'm not saying this to brag or anything. I just want to say this because I want you guys to know that I'm very like confident in this deck, in this build, and like I've been getting either second or first, and I think I went undefeated with this deck 3 times already, and once I got second. Yep, that's exactly how it went. You know, it's been really cool. So here's the last one. So drawing this isn't bad because, and we could just search for Ravine. Wow, this hand is crazy. This hand is actually nuts. So okay, so really quick, normal summon Starlead Safer. So Safer says you could send any number of dragon monsters from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard as cost. So if they have a Veiler, say they have Veiler Imperm, I want to say they would Imperm or Veiler this, because if they allow me to activate the effect, they're taking a gamble by letting me activate this effect and assuming that I'm going to send something from my hand. So I'm going to say that they're going to shotgun Veiler or Imperm right then and there, because it's going to allow me to go really far if they let this go through. Okay, so say they would, if they Veiler, actually Veiler or Imperm would be the preferred hand trap that I would like in this scenario, because I get to keep the body, right? But let's just say they opened up Ash. I want this to be like the worst possible scenario. So I'm going to activate the effect and they're going to Ash it, right? So now I lost a card. So here I would go, let's see. That would actually suck. Now that I think about it. Oh, no, actually, yeah, that would be pretty terrible. Because, you know what? We actually opened up Tidying, which is cool. So, okay, so there's 2 scenarios, right? Really quick. If I use this effect and they Imperm it, I mean, if they Veiler it, that's really good, because then I could just like, you know what? Because we've been playing with Ash and Veiler, I'm sorry, Ash and Imperm, let's assume that they have Veiler and like Imperm, or Veiler, actually, you know what? Let's assume, okay, so really quick, Tribute, to activate the effect. Oh, you know what, actually? No, here's a smarter play, okay? This is a smarter play. The smarter play would be to actually send this. Okay? And then they could if they Ash it, they Ash it. If they Veiler it. The thing is, you need the body, right? You always want to play it safe. Like, yes, we drew this, but this is a hard once per turn. I can't activate this again. And like, say I tribute this, or I send this for cost, they Ash it, I go this to revive this, I can't use it again. So all I could do is link this off to Striker Dragon, but then I have no other way of getting another dragon on the board. So if you had another extender, I would say go for it, bait it out, whatever. But because we don't have a very strong extender besides World Legacy Guard Dragon, and we need this body, I'm going to activate the effect, send Parlor, right? Because it says that I could add another Parlor if I wanted to. So I have to add a level 3, right? So say they Ash it or they Imperm, right? Because I sent for cost, now they're happy that I lost a card. Say they Ashed. Now here I would go link 1 to Striker Dragon. Again, I'm going to assume that a good player wouldn't stop this. Like I said, I would prefer they stop it, but if they don't, that's cool. That's what I assume. Man, we're always drawing the 1-ofs, bro. Tidying, Divine Lands. We're always drawing the damn 1-ofs, but it's alright. It's all good. So now we drew World Legacy Guard Dragon. Love this card. And here we're going to get the Parlor. Parlor effect. They don't know we have this, right? So they could assume that we're sending either another extender, or we're gonna send, like, you know, the fusion. I wanna say that they're gonna let this go through. If they don't let it go through, if they hand trap this, I would love that, because I still have, like, gas. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna go, like, pretty much full combo if they hand trap this. So through 2 hand traps, we're still gonna be able to make a decent board. But again, like, I'm gonna assume that they don't hand trap this. So we're gonna get access to the fusion spell, right? Where the hell is it? It's our next card. Of course it's our next card. Of course. Because we're always drawing the 1-ups. Okay, so here is where I think the second hand trap is going to come. Right here. Okay? And that's totally fine, because drawing this card is actually super good. Like, assuming that we have access to, like, other extenders, which we did. So, okay, so first hand trap was hand trapping Safer. And then the second hand trap was Romulus. Okay, so again, we're going to assume they have no more hand traps. We're free. So Divine Lance. If they only started with 1 hand trap, and they allowed us to add Ravine, we could actually send this off Ravine and, like, got access to, like, Apsarouter. And, you know, send Apsarouter, Search Tracer. It would have been insane. But, again, we're going to assume that we got hand trapped twice. And then we're going to, yeah, we equip the... Is Phalanx our next card? Oh my god, it's pretty close. So Phalanx, and then check this out, guys. So here, we're going to go this, summon Phalanx, summon LP, use World Lexicard Dragon, move the LP effect. Now here I'm going to go for, now this, so when I have, like, when I'm depending on World Lexicard Dragon to move LP so I could summon from deck, this is when I want to abuse Black Metal. Because I'm going to go Black Metal, Link, Black Metal effect. We're going to search for that red MD. Damn, this red MD should have been hollow, man. I love the alternate art, like, a lot. But, you know, it should have been super rare. Something. Could have been an ultra. Like, they gave us all those colored ultras. They really couldn't make this a colored ultra. Okay, anyway. I digress. So now we're going to link these 2 off. This is going to go to the grave. We're going to summon Triple Burst. And then, let's see here. From here we could, yeah, let's use Pisty. We're going to revive the Black Metal. Then we're going to banish, summon, use Black Metal's effect. We're going to revive anything, because we're just going to go into Saryuja. Okay, so here's this is another scenario. Okay, another scenario for you guys. We don't need to go Saryuja here. Like, if you guys, so here, if you guys wanted, if actually, like, this would actually be the smarter play. So I shouldn't actually go Saryuja and take the chance when I already have 3 disruptions, very strong disruptions. So what I would do here is I would actually go Changeover and then bounce this back, activate Changeover, fuse Parlor and Red MD, and get Shao, right? So, and then here, so this would be the grave. This is our banished pile. So here I would go Hieratic. And then I would still trigger Black Metal to search for the vanilla Red Eyes, because why not? You know, you don't want to draw it. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather add this vanilla and not draw it. As long as the Red Eyes Fusion spell card is still in the deck, that's all that matters. That is all that matters. Because then we could go Verte next turn. But if we, like, I don't want to have, like, even if I could minimize the chances of drawing this card by, like, you know, 100%. Obviously, if you add this card to your hand, you're not going to draw it. So, like, it's a free card. You know what I mean? It's a card that I'm definitely not going to draw next turn. So guys, look, with this hand, we ended on 3 very, very, very strong disruptions because not only do we have the infamous Hieratic Seal, we also have Shao as an Omni Negate, and then we also have Tidying, which is a bounce. It's a bounce on their turn, and then during our turn, it's a Reborn. It's crazy. It's so insane. Guys, thank you so much if you've watched this whole video. The last test hand was probably the best test hand. With both, so with the first 2 test hands, with the first test hand, what did we end on? We ended on, I forgot. I totally forgot. I think we just ended on Hieratic Seal, assuming that they hand trapped us twice. No, what was it? Was this our, I can't remember if this was our 4th or 3rd. I think number 1 was really bad. It was just the Imperm. It was just the Imperm or a Hieratic. I'm not sure, but as you could see, like with the last 2 test hands, or last 3, I apologize. I can't even remember. It took so long. Look, we're at over 50 minutes. With the last 2 test hands, we still ended with a decent amount of like board presence and disruption. The test hand before this was actually really good because in both scenarios, if they ashed us, we would have either ended on Dragoon Savage or Hieratic Shao. So if they ashed us, we would have ended on these 2. If they didn't ash us, I'm sorry, if they ashed us, we would have ended on these 2. If they didn't ash us, we would have ended on Borload Savage and Dragoon. And then this hand was just like phenomenal because they, even though they did hand trap us during 2 key points in the combo, which is like you know, hand trapping safer, because we lost the card for cost. We sent the card. Again, this card is just the best extender, because this and any dragon is like full combo. But again, like, you know, we ended with Tidying, Hieratic, and Shao. Like these are just insanely good. Insanely good. Like the only difference there would have been if they didn't hand trap us at all. Well, if they didn't hand trap us at all, I think we could have possibly like we definitely would have ended with Dragoon, like Dragoon plus this, and it depends what we would have drawn and, you know, whatever. But the point is, we got to these this board through 2 hand traps, and we got through Hieratic Shao in the previous test hand through 2 hand traps, or it would have been Dragoon, whatever. So again, man, this deck is just, it's awesome. It's really good that it can consistently play through hand traps. Yeah, but on camera, man, you know, it's the curse of the camera, bro. Always drawing the 1-ofs in a 60 card deck. Drawing phalanx in a damn 60 card deck. It happens. I think, didn't I draw Red Ice Fusion? I drew Red Ice Fusion. Oh yeah, that was like in the first one. I drew Red Ice Fusion. I mean, if they opened up no hand traps, I could have just shotgun Red Ice Fusion. I did that a couple of times, honestly. Against this one striker player, actually, at locals. I opened up Red Ice Fusion, and I just shotgunned it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go Red Ice Fusion. I opened it up, and like, Dragoon alone won me the match. And not the match, the duel. But I won the match, but you know, that specific duel or game, I won because of because Red Ice Fusion resolved. That one of, it's such a good card. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a pleasant evening, day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.